Tracking, alerting, protecting. This is WKYT News at 11.
Harrison County Search and Rescue pulled a body out of Licking River while searching for a missing man.
Dramatic video tonight shows an unmanned rocket exploding seconds after takeoff.
We're learning more about the arrest of a former high school basketball coach in eastern Kentucky.
2 roads here in Montgomery County are now named for 2 heroes.
WKYT News at 11 starts now. Good evening to you. The search for a missing Harrison County man took a disturbing turn tonight. Crews say they found a man's body in the river.
But tonight, investigators still are not sure if that body is 32-year-old Clinton O'Brien. He disappeared nearly a week ago. Tonight, search crews talked to us after finding the body. WKYT's Jarek Insko has the latest in our top story at 11.
The search and rescue crew here in Harrison County has spent a lot of time searching for a man who has been missing for 6 days now. Now that search got put on hold when the crew pulled a body out of Robinson Dam. They have spent 12 of the last 24 hours trying to find any signs of 32-year-old Clinton O'Brien.
With the dogs, the underwater cameras, and then we had our county fire team go in with boats and kind of operate around the area where we were getting all the hits. We were able to locate a body.
But that's not what these crews hope for when they start searching. They hope for a sign of life. In this case, an indication that O'Brien isn't in Licking River, with his car being found right beside Robinson Dam Monday night.
Having the keys in the ignition was just a trigger for us that we really need to thoroughly make sure there's nothing down here. I mean, we would rather left here thinking he wasn't here as to finding somebody.
Along with the Harrison County Fire Department, search and rescue officials say their job isn't done until they can give the family a definite answer of what happened.
It is always our hope to find something, especially when we have a missing person and we're wanting to help the family out, give them a little closure. We're always hoping to find something, but we would really like for it to be a live person instead of a deceased one.
Brian's family was on scene of the search but did not want to comment. There is still no word on what led up to his disappearance. In Harrison County, Jarek Insko, WKYT.
We just talked to the Harrison County coroner. He tells us he cannot identify the body tonight, but he hopes to be able to do that tomorrow after an autopsy in Frankfort.
Just seconds after liftoff, an unmanned supply ship rocket exploded over a launch pad in Virginia tonight. The rocket was heading to the International Space Station. No one was injured. Now NASA is trying to figure out what went wrong. As Bagad Shaban shows us, cameras caught the explosion on tape.
An unmanned supply ship bound for the International Space Station lifted off a launch pad on Wallops Island, Virginia, Tuesday night. But seconds later, it exploded, sending flames and shrapnel high into the air.
There was a big boom on the island. You could hear windows shatter, and everyone was screaming.
Something went wrong, and we will find out what that is. We will determine the root cause, and we will correct that.
The 14-story Antares rocket was built by Orbital Sciences Corporation, one of 2 private companies with a NASA contract to supply the space station since the retirement of the space shuttles. CBS News space consultant Bill Harwood says something might have gone wrong with the Russian-made first-stage engines.
There appeared to be a detonation of some sort at the base of the rocket. You could see this explosion stop the forward motion of the rocket, then it simply fell back down to the pad and exploded in a huge fireball.
The ship was carrying more than 5,000 pounds of supplies.
Clothing, food, science gear, spare parts, other equipment, nothing that's critical to the health and safety of the crew, nothing critical to the operation of the space station, but certainly it'll be missed.
A survey of the scene won't begin until daylight. Crews are letting fires burn out and the site cool down before they start looking for clues. Bagad Shaban, CBS News.
A similar rocket failed during a test last May. A Russian rocket carrying supplies is scheduled to lift off for the space station tomorrow.
Okay, you will feel it when you step outside. Temperatures have taken a big drop in just the last 12 hours, and it's a sign of things to come later this week. Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey has an early look and a much colder forecast.
Yeah, Sam, this is a very interesting weather pattern that we are in as we make our way through the rest of this week and certainly into Halloween weekend. Let's start with front number 1 that is on top of the area before we get to the Big Daddy front that arrives on Halloween. Here's the setup as of now. We continue with a lot of gusty showers out there. Cold front across southeastern Kentucky, giving way to a little bit of cooler and drier air. Then it really chills down on the other side of the Ohio River. Now, Live First Alert Defender is suggesting we still have several hours of showers to go through. Defender across central Kentucky, heaviest rains on top of Winchester, up around the Nicholas County area, back toward the southwest, Lancaster, and into Somerset, getting in on a lot of soggy weather. Look at Lake Cumberland. We are drenched with some locally heavy downpours, drenching rains here into southeastern Kentucky and along the Mountain Parkway corridor. That colder air is now getting into central Kentucky. 48, the cool spot, showing up into Danville. 53 across sections of Lexington as of right now. Planning your Wednesday forecast. Showers still around early tomorrow morning. By the afternoon, though, the clouds begin to break up. We'll see temperatures that will be into the upper 50s. That's the chill down. The focus, though, of the forecast is on Halloween and the increasing threat for many areas to see the first snowflakes of the season. Some new computer model data to show you when I come back in just a few minutes.
Tonight, a former Harlan County High School girls basketball coach has been accused of trying to videotape players in the locker room. The Harlan County Sheriff's Office arrested 41-year-old Anthony Nolan at the school this afternoon. He coached the girls basketball team until May, but still taught English at Harlan County High School. The sheriff says the investigation began in May after he received a complaint from a parent.
He had informed me that his daughter, with several other girls, had located what they believed to be Mr. Nolan's cell phone in a mesh part of a duffel bag and in an empty locker, and it apparently was recording at the time.
Nolan has been charged with criminal attempt to promote a minor in a sex performance and criminal attempt to promote a sexual performance by a minor. But the sheriff says more charges could be filed. Nolan will be arraigned next week.
Tonight, we are tracking the search for a man police say robbed a Lexington business. It happened just before 6 tonight at Check and Go on Richmond Road. Police say the robber walked in, implied he had a weapon, and demanded money. After stealing some money, the robber ran off. No one was injured. Police say they have a limited description of that robber. The Laurel County Sheriff's Office has released surveillance video of a man wanted for a robbery at a store. Deputies say this man robbed the Saddlebrook Dollar General store near London Saturday night. They say he had a gun at the time.
Former President Bill Clinton planning another trip to Kentucky to campaign for Senate candidate Allison Lundergan Grimes. Grimes' campaign says he'll appear at an event with her in Louisville. Former President Clinton was just in Western Kentucky last week campaigning for Grimes, and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton will campaign for her in Lexington and Northern Kentucky on Saturday. As for Senator Mitch McConnell, he's been on a statewide bus tour with singer Lee Greenwood this week. Louisiana Governor Bobby Jindal will appear with the senator in Louisville tomorrow. Well, tonight, 2 roads in Montgomery County now bear the names of 2 heroes.
During a ceremony, one road was renamed for a Pearl Harbor survivor, the other for a soldier who died while fighting in Iraq. New at 11, WKYT's Garrett Weimer shows us how these 2 soldiers were honored.
He's 96 years old, but Pearl Harbor survivor John C. Toy will never forget December 7th, 1941.
He was flying real slow, and his guns were firing, and he looked down. It looked like to me he had a big smile on his face, and I believe if I'd waved at him, he'd have waved back.
Toy is one of 2 soldiers now honored with a Montgomery County road in his name.
I left my camera at home, but I'll have to take a picture of it.
The signs were unveiled at a service with military honors for the living and the dead. When the signs are uncovered by the roadside here on Airport Road and also part of Route 60, folks driving here in Montgomery County will have a permanent reminder of 2 local heroes' sacrifice and service to their country.
We don't ever want people to forget our loved ones, especially when they were like my son.
Garth Sizemore was killed in Baghdad in 2006. Now his parents, both veterans themselves, are glad to have another way to remember their son.
When I drive by, I'm going to see the last face I saw, which is 2003 when they left town. That's what it's going to be to me.
In Montgomery County, Garrett Weimer, WKYT.
Well, those signs on the actual roadsides will be uncovered tomorrow.
Doctors say she's now free of the Ebola virus, the message a Texas nurse had today as she was being released from the hospital.
Also coming up here at 11, how a baseball cap ended up being the clue investigators needed to solve a cold case in Laurel County. Yeah, a big thank you tonight to Rob Perez and his Hamburg Saw Good location. They hosted a dine-in night for my efforts to raise money for the American Diabetes Association event called Kiss a Pig. Tonight, we were able to raise $300 more for my efforts to try and kiss that pig come Saturday night. You can still help out if you would like to donate. Just look for our Kiss a Pig story on WKYT.com. A lot of folks came out in the rain to have some dinner, so thanks.
It's a rare feat that now has a python at the Louisville Zoo attracting worldwide attention. We'll explain why coming up at 11.
Today, a Texas nurse who contracted the Ebola virus was released from the hospital.
Amber Vincent had successful treatment for Ebola at Emory University Hospital in Atlanta. She is one of 2 nurses who contracted the virus after treating a Liberian man in Dallas who later died of the disease. Vincent spoke to reporters just before leaving the hospital.
While this is a day for celebration and gratitude, I ask that we not lose focus on the thousands of families who continue to labor under the burden of this disease in West Africa.
The other nurse, Nina Pham, was released from the hospital last week. Tomorrow, the president will meet with volunteer health workers who have been or will soon be traveling to West Africa.
A baseball cap helped investigators solve a cold case attempted robbery from last year. In April of 2013, Laurel County deputies say a man tried to rob Wildcat Tobacco at gunpoint, but they say the would-be robber got spooked and ran off. As he left, deputies say he dropped his baseball hat. They say they used DNA from that hat to tie Sean Stalin to the crime. A grand jury has indicted him.
We actually had ideas that he was involved in the one out on at Wildcat Tobacco, so we actually had him as a suspect. You know, he fit the same description. We just needed to be able to physically tie him to the scene.
Stalin is already serving time in prison for robbery. Deputies say because of a backlog in the state crime lab, it took nearly a year to test that baseball cap.
If you use propane to heat your home, you may want to stock up now. Propane shortages were reported in parts of the country during last winter, and the owner of a gas company in Estill County told us the price of propane has already gone up by about 30 cents since the summer. He says filling up now could save you some money.
First frost and first cold spell, we really get swamped, so it's best to have everyone we can filled up with their tanks filled up, and we're ahead of the game there.
As you just heard from Chris, that cold spell is coming now. State energy leaders suggest getting your propane tank filled when the level hits 25%.
The Louisville Zoo says one of its pythons did something no other python has ever done before. Workers say that Thelma reproduced without ever meeting a male snake. They say the 11-year-old snake is a rare example of parthenogenesis. That's a scientific term for virgin birth.
We thought that was a little odd that we had a clutch of eggs. Sometimes snakes can retain sperm, and that's possible. So we took that clutch and we incubated some of them here, and lo and behold, we hatched some offspring.
Well, Thelma's offspring are all female, and they're said to be normal and healthy. Parthenogenesis, that is one big word tonight here on the 11 o'clock
news. You get an A for pronouncing that right.